Assalamu alaikum everyone. Can you all hear me? Am I audible? Assalamu alaikum. Can you all hear me? Okay. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so we'll begin. I, Aisha Abrar, extend a warm welcome to each one of you attending this webinar. The executive team of Ahlan Motherhood series, Salma Abdus Salam and Sana Kalsekar, join me here to host you all through your journey of womanhood. The journey of being a woman is a challenging one. And as we move ahead in our journey as a woman, our roles become more diverse and challenging. Pregnancy, a new mother, a mother of toddlers, facing hormonal changes and whatnot. The Ahlan Motherhood series is a platform where we bring you experts in various areas of life coaching, gynecology, lactation counselors, teachers, and many more who will share their experience to make your journey fulfilling. Motherhood is a profession in itself where we need to keep upgrading ourselves with evidence-based knowledge to make the right decisions for ourselves and our children. I must mention here we are so delighted that you all have chosen to develop yourselves and allow us to hold your hand through this journey. We cannot express our joy except by sending out virtual hugs and some amazing freebies in your inboxes. An exciting prize to be won by one of you, which will be announced at the end of the session today. So stay tuned. Now I introduce you to our first esteemed speaker, Iroda Ahmed. Iroda Ahmed is a teacher and a teacher trainer by profession. She is also an educational consultant, parent educator, and a seasoned homeschooling mother of 6 who helps other mothers succeed in their parenting and homeschooling journey. She grew up in the depths of Uzbek countryside, climbing trees, sliding down the rooftops, and taking her cow for grazing out in the fields with a book in her hand. She later won an international student scholarship to study in the UK, where she earned BA in English and Ahmed in teaching English. She has been developing, designing, and teaching various courses both in the UK and abroad since 2003. In addition to teaching English lessons at various institutions around the globe, she has set up Raising Young Scholars, an initiative aimed at equipping homeschooled children with academic, character building, and life skills needed to make them the leaders of tomorrow. So any questions you may have relevant to the topic, please type in the Q&A tab on the corner. We will be having a short Q&A session after each talk. Over to you, Sister Iroda.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can everybody hear me well? If you can hear me, just give me thumbs up. Let me know, inshallah, so we can proceed. Okay, inshallah. So I just saw one thumbs up, which means I can go ahead, inshallah. So Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Yes, yes, yes. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair for letting me know. I'm not very technical person, so alhamdulillah. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my dear sisters. Alhamdulillah, it feels very nice to be connected on this new platform with a new audience, and jazakallah khair to the hosts for the warm welcome. So let's get started. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So today I have been asked to talk about mom guilt and stress management. It's something that I often talk about either in podcasts or through blogging or in my Thursday Thoughts weekly videos, because it's real. It's something that we all struggle with, subhanAllah. So let's have a look. What is mom guilt and how can we beat the mum guilt? But before I start, I hope you all have your cups of herbal teas ready, pens and notebooks ready. This is something that I encourage for all my mother students. This is your me time, inshallah. So it will be very short but enlightening, inspiring and relaxing coffee talk. Sit back and enjoy the show, inshallah. So get your comfort foods ready, inshallah. So let's get started. What is mum guilt? First of all, let's identify what is this mum guilt, right? Many of times, I hear from fellow mothers like, I feel terrible about this, or I feel so guilty about that, this kind of talks. And mum guilt is real. It hit many of us. What is mum guilt? It's a mixture of feelings, namely self-doubt, anxiety, uncertainty, and I don't think there is anyone who has never been there. Many of us have been there. Do self-blaming thoughts and feelings keep creeping up in your mind, especially when you're trying to fall asleep, right? When you go to bed, all the things that you did, your interactions and relationships, connections with your children throughout the day, they keep crossing your mind. And we often think, am I overdoing it? Am I underdoing it? Am I doing it right? So these questions keep popping up in our head and making us feel very, very guilty or very terrible mother. Why do we feel guilty? What is the cause of this mum guilt? We think, number one, we are failing or damaging our children because we think we are falling short of society's expectations of being a good mother, right? Nowadays, there's all sorts of, thoughts and methods and methodologies and all sorts of decisions and choices about motherhood and how to be a good mother. Just take one thing, like how to wean a toddler, right? How to wean or how to potty train. You'll find a number of methods and books available on the internet. This information overload of, what does a good mother look like? We often think that we are falling short of these expectations. And there are many, many other categories of mum guilt as well. More working mum guilt if you are, if you choose to work outside the house, yelling mum guilt, spanking mum guilt, you just name it, depending on each family, this mum guilt may take like its own specific like characteristics. How helpful is it? I'm afraid mum guilt is not helpful at all. Mum guilt, it paralyzes you and it makes it very difficult to break the habit. Mum guilt is what keeps you stuck in a situation that you actually feel guilty about. And unless taking an antidote, which is making an action plan and following it through, which we will discuss in the coming, in the next slides. But mum guilt can be very damaging, self-distorting, and just mentally exhausting, subhanAllah. It's just exhausting. It's not helpful at all. We need to overcome these feelings of guilt, and we need to stop blaming us, to stop doubting us, doubting our decisions, motherhood decisions, or some parenting choices. We have to feel confident about our choices, right? So what is the antidote for mum guilt? First of all, you have to get to the root cause of the issue. What is making you feel guilty? Is it spanking, yelling, screaming? Is it extra screen time? Or is it not being able to spend more time with your children due to work, if you are a working mother? Is it not being able to cook? It could be a mixture of things. And when I speak to homeschooler mothers, it adds another layer of mum guilt, because you often think that, am I underdoing it? Am I overdoing it? Am I teaching it right? Am I doing enough maths or English or science, or am I doing enough Ramadan activities? All these things, subhanAllah, it could be a mixture of things, but I always say there are usually one or two dominating guilt factors, one or two. So you have to identify them. And beware of your thoughts, especially those recurring thoughts that unconsciously crawl up your mind when you are cooking or cleaning or doing some other work. What do you mostly think about? When you are busy with some other tasks on hand, let's say cooking or cleaning or ironing, what do you mostly think about? Because you have to, it starts with thinking. Feelings originate with thoughts. So everything starts with negative thinking. So those recurring negative thoughts, what are they about, right? You have to get them out of your head and jot them down in a paper, inshallah. And stop comparing yourself. Stop comparing yourself. Nowadays, subhanAllah, with the advance of social media, where everybody projects the highlights of their life onto Instagram or Facebook or any other platforms that you are on, whether, you can't help but compare yourself to others, and you really have to stop yourself. And if you can't stop yourself, leave social media. It gives you that peace of mind, right? Because those moms, who seem to be so confident on social media platforms, I bet they are just as scared as everybody else in real life. They're just as worried regarding their children as you. Those moms whose house seem very clean and very organized at all times, maybe they have a big pile of mess just behind the camera, right? Perhaps they're going through their own challenge in their own lives, but it is a human nature that we only project the highlights and strong moments onto the social media or onto the outside world. But the truth is, we all have weaknesses and weak moments. And you never know about someone else's story, but we look at those pictures, picture perfect images, and we compare our weak moments to someone else's strong moments. You compare your weak moments to someone else's strong moments. So remember, you never know someone else's story in full, and the grass is never greener on the other side. So stop comparing yourself to others. Next, accept and validate yourself. I am who I am, with all my shortcomings, with all my insecurities, with all my vulnerabilities. So a mother who can't embrace her authentic self will find it difficult to accept her children for who they are as well. And there's no such a thing as perfect, right? There's no such a thing as perfect mother. Every one of us is flawed. Every mother I know has yelled, including myself, has spanked, has screamed, has cried. So no one has ever scored 100% in this motherhood game, right? So remember, you are a strong woman, and every strong woman can have a weak moment too. So don't let those weak moments define you. Just accept and validate yourself when you're going through a tough time. Number 3, practice self-compassion. Often we are kind and forgiving with everybody else, and when it comes to ourselves, we're just so tough, right? You have to forgive yourself and regret the action, Everybody deserves forgiveness, including yourself. Often we forgive everybody else, and we don't extend the same grace when it comes to ourselves. If you miss something, you're just so tough on yourself. Oh, why did I miss this again? Or why did I hit again? Why did I shout again? Why did I do this again? I'm so stupid. I'm so, lazy. I'm this, I'm that. If you keep thinking like this, these thoughts, they make you feel more and more guilty. And like I said, the guilty feelings paralyzes you. When you feel guilty, it's from shaitan. We, alhamdulillah, as Muslims, we believe in shaitan's whisperings, right? When we have these negative thoughts, it's actually shaitan is trying to make us stuck in that situation, and he doesn't want us to move forward. So he makes it very, very difficult for us to forgive ourselves, but we have to. Next, so once we tackle the internal battles, The best antidote for mom guilt is taking an action, right? We have to practice positive self-talk. Self-affirmations will help you to get out of these negative, anxious, and worrisome thoughts. Imagine if your friend came to you and said, "Oh, I'm feeling very guilty about this." What would you say? You would say like, "Oh, Iram, you're doing your best and you're such a good mother, you are trying hard. It will get better, inshallah. Things will improve, inshallah." But again, when it comes to ourselves, we don't. We don't do these things. We are very harsh. We have to practice positive self-talk. Every morning when you wake up, just say, Rahma, inshallah, today will be good. You will do your best. It will get better. Any self-affirmations, if you're going through a specific situation, write self-affirmations to help you with that and say them out loud to yourself every morning. Say them out loud. And we talked about taking action, right? So again, once we tackle these internal battles, these negative thoughts, the best antidote for mom guilt is taking an action. So first you validate yourself, you're consciously trying to change your negative, anxious, worrisome thoughts. And if you're still feeling guilty, then it is a good indicator that some things must be changed around the house or within yourself. So what can you do differently? Maybe stop screaming, stop yelling, or maybe stop overreacting, or maybe waking up early, maybe start connecting and bonding more. So write down one thing, one thing that you can do within your means on a daily basis to help you beat the mum guilt. And often, subhanallah, our children, they sense this when we feel guilty about certain situations. Children sense this guilty feelings, and they try to manipulate or take advantage, or they just play out our assumptions for us. So you don't have to. I always say, once you made like certain rules and boundaries, you have to be firm and follow through what you have decided. We don't live to please our children, and children need laughter as well as tears. So don't let your children make you feel guilty for setting some healthy rules or boundaries around the house, right? So if you're feeling like, if you decided that you're feeling guilty because your children are watching too much like screen time, they're spending too much on the screen time, and you decide to cut it down, right? Or you decide to cut down the sugar or crisps or the amount of junk they can have daily. And if you are not firm, when you make these decisions for the wellness, for the good of your children and your family and yourself, often your children, like, if you are not grounded in your decision, your children can sense this, and they try to take advantage of this, like indecision, right? When we are undecided to follow through our action plan, they can take advantage of this and try to manipulate you or make you feel guilty. But no, we don't please to leave our children, right? When you have a family rule, when you decided on something, cut down screen time or cut down sugar or whatever it may be, like let your children do more chores and you doing less. uh, Follow it through. Follow it through. Don't let your children make you feel guilty about it. Be grounded. Be grounded. And stress management, many of the things we have discussed so far already helps you with stress, managing stress. But what is stress? Like, stress is your body's alarm system, right? When we perceive a threat, the brain signals the body's alarm system, which then we try to respond with fight, flight, or freeze responses. But what happens is we have all been programmed, right? Our subconscious mind, we have banked all these attitudes and all these reactions and all these, relationship experiences at the back of our mind. That's called subconscious mind. And a lot of the time, our reactions are impulsive. Yani they're based on what we have experienced and what we have banked at the back of our head. So some people are really, really calm, right? They don't stress very easily, subhanAllah. And maybe because they have been around calm people, they have been raised with, people that who don't stress out much. And some people are very, bad-tempered, or they like react quickly and they can't manage their anger. And if you look at it, most of the time, the chances are these people have been raised with this kind of people, like with this kind of adults in their lives. So look at your subconscious mind. Because of what we have banked, the experiences we have banked as a child, we sometimes perceive not so dangerous situations as being really life-threatening, really life-threatening. So in everyday parenting, your stress response may be being triggered by not so dangerous situations, situations like your child spilling milk, or your child's they have childish behavior, right? Immature, childish behavior. And if you can't be immature and making mistakes as a child, then when are you allowed as an adult? It's like, you should in everyday parenting, some childish mistakes that children make as part of their growth, trial and error. You ask to bring one thing, they bring you another thing, and you ask to put, the shoes the right way, and they just jumble up everything inside the shoe cupboard. This kind of, childish behavior. We should not stress much about this. We should not stress much. And if these kind of things are your triggers, then subhanallah, you should just ease off. There's no need to attach so much life-threatening meaning to everyday situations. Sometimes the way we react to some childish mistakes is as if we are being chased by a lion in the jungle. I always say this example, that the way we react to some of our children's mistakes is the stress level is the same as if we are being chased by a lion in the jungle. And there is, subhanAllah, there's no need. The children are growing, and there should always be room to explore and make mistakes, as long as it's not a matter of halal and haram, like not being able to clean the house the way you want, or get some chores done the way you want is okay. Like spilling milk, these kind of things is okay. Like it can't be your way, or highway attitude. When you are parenting, if you have this kind of attitude, then you are in for a big frustration, disappointment and stress. SubhanAllah, like just ease off, just ease off. So final words, as I think we have to wrap up in 15 minutes. So stop comparing yourself and embrace your authentic self. Everyone is flawed. Nobody is perfect. I am perfectly imperfect mother. Accept and validate your feelings. When you go through a hard time, maybe due to pregnancy, or even after you delivered a baby, it usually takes me 3 months to recover, to like validate yourself. Don't keep blaming yourself. Oh, why am I feeling like this? I'm such a loser. Why am I going through this? No, it's okay. You are pregnant, and everybody experienced difficulty in pregnancy, or you just delivered a baby and it takes a while to recover and get back to your routine. It is okay. Validate yourself. right? And have foresight, this, like Arabs call this basira. We have to try and look, see beyond our current situations. Often when we are caught, mum guilt kicks in when you are caught in this particular difficult situation, and we think that this is never going to get better, the situation will never improve, this situation will just carry on forever and forever, and there's no end to this. No, however difficult it may be to mother your children, at one point of the developmental stage, you may very well enjoy the next stage of motherhood, right? You may enjoy the next stage, like have foresight, look, try to see beyond your current situation. And the best antidote for mum guilt is taking an action. Identify what is making you feel guilty and do something about it. Is it screen time? Cut down screen. Is it like, sugar or junk food? Cut down. Or is it yelling or screaming? Write one thing that helps you not to yell or not to scream. Whatever it is, right? Do one thing about it on a daily basis. Mum guilt is counterproductive. Yani, it does not, we think that, the more we feel guilty, it's going to get better, inshallah, like it's going to help us be more productive, and it's going to help us be like better mother. No, it's exactly the opposite. If you feel being guilty about being unproductive, you carry on being unproductive. If you feel guilty about like shouting all the time, you will be shouting all the time. This is how guilt paralyzes you. This is like waswas from shaitan, keeps you stuck. But if you regret the action that you feel guilty about, make an action plan and forgive yourself, like khalas irada, like I did it once, but inshallah tomorrow I'll try my best and not to repeat this. It actually helps. If you forgive yourself, validate yourself, accept your mistake, and make an action plan to replace it with something, it actually helps. And when you make some, parenting decisions and choices, be firm and follow through what you have decided. Follow through. We are not here to please our children, and you can't let them manipulate your decisions by making you feel guilty about. If it's your children who are making you feel guilty, why can't everybody else have mobile and I can't have mobile? Some parents like feel terrible because they're dealing with like preteens and teenagers and young adults, like adolescents, because they're trying to raise their children as Muslims, right? As Muslims. And if they go to a school with non-Muslims and they see what everybody else doing, especially in UK, US, Western countries, it's really tough being a Muslim parent in those countries. But once, if you make like no gadget decision, khalas, follow it through. If your children say whatever they say to make you feel guilty, no, I'm doing it for your own good, and this is what we're going to follow as a family. The family rule is this, inshallah. So I hope this was clear, and I think my time is up for today, inshallah. If you have, I think it's a Q&A time now. If anybody is open to question and answer, if you have some questions, I think this is the time for Q&A. You can ask your questions.
Yes, Jazakallah khairan, Sister Iroda, for this insightful topic.
Alhamdulillah, wa yak, alhamdulillah. I hope it's beneficial for everybody else, inshallah. I hope you can take away some tips and apply in your daily lives, and inshallah, may Allah grant everyone tawfiq to be more productive, inshallah.
Inshallah. May we strive to implement this knowledge, and may He give us the tawfiq to be a great mother for our children, inshallah.
Ameen. Ameen.
Now, let's proceed to our Q&A session, inshallah. Sisters, if you have any questions, please post on the Q&A tab on the corner. We have a question, sister.
Okay.
How to deal when others make us feel guilty of not being a good mother?
When others, who do you mean? Like, who do you mean? You know, how well this person knows you, and what kind of advice are they giving you? You know, sometimes like a person that you don't know well, maybe you only know distantly, may say things to make you feel guilty. I would just ignore, neglect. But I live like, you know, if your husband says something, or like I live with my in-laws, right? My mother-in-law says something, then I would take their criticism on board and listen to what they are saying. You know, if it depends who is this person. If it's immediate family that you live with, then take them on board. You know, be open to criticism. Don't be offended and, you know, defensive and sensitive, because alhamdulillah, these are the people that you live with. They are with you 24/7, and they know the ins and outs. They see your efforts, or they see your you know, in daily life they are with you. So like, I often things matters over with my, I discuss it with my husband or with my mother-in-law, and when they give like constructive criticism, if I take it on board fully, you know, I think you are right, especially my mother-in-law. She's got more like wisdom, so I take it on board. But if it's a friend that I meet every now and then, like, you can just ignore. You know, like, you know what is best for your children because you live with them. So when you make a decision, just stand by your decision. You know, be firm, and be like, just follow it through. Be grounded. Be grounded. You only, like, sometimes people think that you may be like arrogant, or, you know, something if you don't take on their advice. But I was reading somewhere, it says you are only, what does it say? I'm only arrogant when my confidence meets your insecurity. So often people project their own insecurities onto you. So, you know, you are only arrogant when your confidence meets other person's insecurity. So if it's somebody that you live with, talk to them, take their advice or criticism on board, try to change things around. But if it's somebody that not immediate family, then I would not pay attention, because they don't know your family or your children as well as you. I hope that's clear, inshallah. If there's another question, we can move on.
We have one more question.
Okay.
My 3 children are already in school, but we have been considering homeschooling. I'm not sure if you're ready, and I'm afraid of playing with their education. Moreover, I'm not sure what syllabus to use or where we could have exams, etc.
I don't think, you know, I don't think any family will be ready for homeschooling in a sense that you get, you know, all your books and workbooks and textbooks together, and you have your schedule, daily schedule, weekly, monthly plans, everything together. But it's something that you do on the go. When it comes to decision making, you have to measure up your options. Like my children as well, they were going to Arabic school last year, and this year they switched to online. So again, I wrote down, you know, like tuition fees and then online learning, and we, in the end, we decided to, you know, opted out not to send them to this Arabic school. They were going for their Arabic language and Islamic education, because it's like, it's not worth it, right? If you are in a similar situation, you know, just write down the options, like measure up, you know, pros and cons of sending them to school. and keeping them at home. But don't think that you need to have everything ready and under control before you start homeschooling. No, it's something that you kind of learn and improve on the go. In fact, I was writing the 10 things that I would say to new Muslim homeschoolers, and top of my list was focus on the character. You don't need curriculum. Focus on the character, like gratitude, patience, kindness. These kind of character traits, they don't develop unaided. So focus more on character traits by modeling and reading books of inspiring Muslim men and women from the past and present, and discussing their behavior, just inspiring your children, to be grateful. And number two, focus on life skills. So like I wish somebody told me this like before. Like now I've been homeschooling more than a decade, and I've come, like my older children grew a lot older, and I've come to this decision. So life skills are more important than academics, and academics come later, right? So focus on your relationships and more connection, like more connection. Like my daily mantra now: more connection, less correction. Also discipline without disrespecting. Every day is part of your education, part of children's education. Focus more on the home environment. We want to raise lifelong learners. Like I love learning, and I want to learn. I hope I don't stop learning, and we want the same for our children, right? So focus on the home environment, having like good library, and get children involved in cooking and cleaning. In fact, I made cooking and cleaning part of our homeschool curriculum, because children have to learn these things, right? And when they grow older, you can give them, like, sort the grocery. You can tell them to do the family budgeting, teach them how to do online banking, pay bills. All of these are part of their education, because we don't want like doctors and engineers who don't know how to run a household, who don't know how to manage their household, or doctors and engineers who don't know how to be a father or how to be a good mother Islamically. So focus on like character, life skills, home environment, your relationships. All these things like play a part. And you, like academics, if you're referring specifically to teaching academics like maths, English, science, when you say you're not ready, it will come along. Just get books like for their grades. There are many books available on because we follow the British curriculum. So I just get like Collins workbooks, or like Oxford International, or for everyday science, or Nelson International. So we just follow like we get the workbooks and get them done. Like it doesn't have to be every day. We don't have to do maths, English, science, geography, history every day. Some things are done best daily, like Quran reading, like tafsir or Islamic studies. And some things can be done just on a weekly, once or twice a week. Like we do maths twice a week, we do science twice a week. So you can still do more in less time. So quality over quantity, having short lessons, but focus, like always have a big picture. Like, and it's just, homeschooling is not just maths, English, science, or learning at the table and the chair. It's everything in between. If you have this big picture, it makes everything so much more relaxing, so you don't get overwhelmed. What syllabus? I think just follow the country that you are from. The curriculum, like if you're from England, it's just easier, right, to follow the British curriculum, or if you're from America, to follow the US, or if you're from Saudi curriculum, mashallah, they give out all the books. You can buy, like in England it's difficult because we don't have set of books for each grade. It's like you have to make your own, like whatever worksheets, or any other project-based learning, anything. But in some countries like Egypt, you know, Saudi, they have the yearly books by grade, by subjects. It makes it so much easier to teach. You just get the books and teach what you can at home, or you can even outsource, like find a good tutor and once or twice a week arrange children go for their academic learning, and you just focus on character and life skills at home, inshallah. Again, I hope that's clear. I'm just like because that's such a big question. But don't feel overwhelmed and don't think you have to be ready and get everything under control to start homeschooling. No, focus on the big picture and inshallah you can learn on the go.
Inshallah. The next question is, how do we deal with a situation where you have planned by what to do for the next couple of hours, but your spouse or in-laws taunt you for not doing it right now? And she says she faces this on almost daily basis. I do things around the house when there is nobody around, and opposite when there are people. She asks if she needs to change this, or is it okay? Is it totally fine to be this way?
Okay. And the house when there is nobody around. I think, do you like, if you live with your, you know, with your in-laws, do you consult them in the planning, or do you like consult their opinion? Do you ask them for their, like, you know, thoughts and opinions about certain things? Planning together helps. I'm also like, I also struggled with this a lot, you know, you make a plan and you keep it to yourself in your head. And when you just sit down to do it and everybody keeps interrupting and I'm like, well, I want to get this done. And they're like, well, you haven't informed us, right? So communication is really important. And it's something that I have struggled for a very long time because often I plan, I overplan, and I keep it to myself. No, if you live with, you know, your in-laws and especially your husband, you have to consult their opinions. You have to ask, discuss things. And like make informed decisions so they are informed, they know what is going to happen rather than keeping your plan to yourself. And we treat the same to you know, our children the same way. Like we plan, and this is again something that like a mistake I made. We plan and we just keep it to ourselves and spontaneously, like, you know, sit down with this is happening, and they're like, oh, you know, they don't cooperate well because they have not been informed. Children, they cooperate, they listen better when you get them involved in the decision making process. So like when I make like weekly schedules now, I ask all even the 4-year-old, I sit her down, like, we're going to do this and this, you know, this day you do this. For older children, mashallah, like I ask them to make their weekly schedules and we just go over it together. And they cooperate so much better because they know what's happening on which day at which time, right? Because they have been informed and they made that decision together. But if you, as a mother, as a homeschooling mother, make all that decision, all the planning by yourself and don't inform anyone else or don't involve them in the planning, then you're going to find it very difficult. You know, they will not cooperate. Uh, if you are someone who likes planning by yourself, like me in the past, then you have to communicate it. You have to communicate, like, this is, you know, on Tuesdays from 4 to half 4, I want to do Quran. On these days from this time to this time, we're going to do this, like weekend. I want to arrange this field trip for my for our children, you know, everything. Plan together, involve them in decision making. If you plan by yourself, communicate and inform them as early as you can. Just ask their opinion. It makes them feel respected as well. You know, ask your husband, ask your mother-in-law, what's their opinion about this, or shall I do this on this day? What do you think? It just makes them like feel respected and honored, and give them that respect and honor. Then they'll cooperate much better, inshallah. Should we move on?
Yeah, we can take the next question.
Okay.
I have toddlers and I get frustrated and my anger gets to my kids. How to improve, although every day I say I will be more patient with them.
You just patience and perseverance, you know, relax, take things easy. I don't know how many children you have, but alhamdulillah, I have 6 and I still get frustrated. I have a toddler and a baby when I'm trying to get some, you know, schooling done with my children. Just ease off, subhanallah, like what is it that's making you angry? Is it your baby that needs breastfeeding or needs nappy changing, or is it your toddler who keeps pulling the papers and, you know, all the stationery off the table? What is it? Like these kind of things, it doesn't stress me anymore. Because like you can't stop, you know, they're growing, they're baby and they're toddlers, they're growing and they need room to explore, and this childish behavior, it doesn't stress me anymore. It just comes, I think, with wisdom. With experience you gain wisdom, and even if you stress, get frustrated, it doesn't change anything, right? It doesn't change the toddler's behavior, for example, because at the end of the day, they're still going to be immature and impatient, and they want to grab the stationery, they want the workbooks, and just give them pen and paper. Try to manage the behavior. You can never control children's behavior, by the way. You can never control your children. Like by controlling, I mean like remote controlled car. You press this button, they go left. You press that button, they go right. And this is exactly what we want as a mother. You know, we just say one thing and we want to get it done exactly how we want it. No, like you can't. You can manage their behavior, but you can never control. And these toddlers and babies, I think it's part of the parcel that you have to get yourself used to, and just ease off like your attitude, change your attitude towards certain things. It's okay. Like there's nothing, it's not within your means to, you know, like program themselves in certain ways so they like act exactly like you want from this time to this time so you can focus on your older children and get schooling done. It's not going to happen, right? Just do what you can within your means and change your attitude. Just ease off, be patient, make lots of dua, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to like grant barakah in your time, to give you patience, and inshallah, like with time and experience, you'll gain wisdom. Things will like get easier. That's why I say like slow down and relax. Slow down and relax, inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khairan, Sister Iroda.
Inshallah.
This ends our Q&A session for this talk, inshallah. Sisters, any questions unanswered due to lack of time, please feel free to send an email to askholisticexpert@gmail.com and we will have them responded at the earliest, inshallah.
Okay,
Over
inshallah.
to you. Inshallah. Jazakallah khairan, Sister Iroda.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair for your time and effort. May Allah accept this from everyone. And inshallah, I look forward to meeting you virtually in another platform soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Over to you, Aisha.
Jazakallah khairan, Sister Iroda. Those were very valuable advices, and hope you're all set for our next speaker, Dr. Fatema Saleh. She is currently working in Fetal Medicine Unit and Lactation Clinic in Family Health Promotion Center under Sharjah Ministry of Health. She is an MD from AGU, Bahrain, Higher Diploma of Obstetric and Gynecology from Saud University. She worked at Al Qasimi Hospital as an obstetric and gynecology. She is also a holistic and functional lactation consultant. She currently teaches for Sharjah University medical students and for breastfeeding counselor course in family affairs, Supreme Council Sharjah. So I repeat, any questions you may have relevant to the topic, please type in the Q&A tab on the corner. Handing over to you, Dr. Fatima.
السلام عليكم. Is it okay? I can't hear you.
Yes, it's clear, sister.
Okay, tell me if it is not clear.
Yes, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everybody. I am Dr. Fatema Saleh. Thank you for the introduction. And the topic before me, it was very nice. Thank you for that. So today our topic is leaky gut syndrome. And leaky gut syndrome, it means that the gut is anything coming from the mouth till the anus. So our gut is just like a tube and it has a lining. And for the modern human being, it is leaky. As a human, we are born with an immature gut that needs to be protected, and the pores should be covered by mother milk. So for some reason, we continue to have this leaky gut till the adulthood in our modern life. So what are the reasons? We are going to have a look at them. So sorry for this bad picture. So it means that most of our disease that kill us is coming from the gut. Any interaction? I can't hear anybody. I'm not used to this. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the innermost layer, and we can see what are the things that attacks this layer, which is supposed to be protecting us. This layer should only allow the beneficial thing to come inside and absorb to the body, and should not allow the bad things to come inside our body. So what makes this layer not working well? These are the factors. So food, as you see here, the protein peptides, these things which is strange, like genetically modified food, like corn, soy, gluten, whatever fed to the chicken, whatever bad thing fed to the cow, the milk we drink from them. It's all our body deal with it like a strange body or a strange food. Okay. So drugs. Unfortunately, you think, oh, long time I didn't take antibiotics, I'm fine. But unfortunately, antibiotics is everywhere. It's in our food and in our water also. So infections. So we have so many infections that we are underestimating it, especially the parasites, the worm. So there are other things that affect us, like any inflammation from any other disease, and some viruses that can affect us, especially the lab prepared viruses, unfortunately. So some people, they have healthy lifestyle, but still they have leaky gut. They do their best to heal this gut, but still they have leaky gut. It's because of the stress. So toxin is not only about food or environment. Sometimes the toxin are inside us. Toxic ideas also can make leaky gut. So what are the consequences of having leaky gut? It's like our gut, it's like a mesh. If you increase the mesh size, the pores inside the mesh, if the size is increased, it will allow undigested food to come early and to be absorbed early. Even healthy food can cause you allergies. That's why if you do food intolerance test, you find, oh, I have allergy from nearly everything. No, you don't have allergy actually from this thing, especially the healthy food. It's the barrier inside your mucosal lining is absorbing the undigested food earlier. So even though it's healthy food, your body recognizes it as foreign. So if the body look at a foreign uh, materials, what's the reaction is the immune reaction. So you will have immune reaction to normal food, and if you have immune reaction to normal food, so you can have autoimmune reaction to normal food, which is attacking your body. You can attack any place of your body if you have immune reaction. For example, if you drink dairy, and dairy have casein protein, because of the industry, our body cannot tolerate casein from cow milk anymore for so many reasons. And then can you go to so our body will make antibodies against this casein. Same for gluten. I am giving you these two examples because these two examples are the main food allergens in our modern life. So casein and gluten, you have antibodies to them. These antibodies will stuck to each other and will roam around your body. Some people, this antibody antigens particles, it will settle in the thyroid, and you will have dysfunction of your thyroid, like increase activity of the thyroid or decrease activity of the thyroid. That's why most of the hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, it's an immune reaction. Hashimoto's or goiter is the same. Some families, they tend to have their autoimmune reaction in their knees. So you will be after age of 30 or 40 or 50, you will need to pray sitting position. Unfortunately, while it's just an immune reaction, stop gluten and you will have easier knee and joint. And you will not need to replace your joints with a surgeon. Can you imagine that? I have many cases like that. So like what Hippocrates said, all disease begins in the gut. So this is a picture showing how the lining is folded. It's like a brush from inside. And this brush, if it is distracted, it will have the leaky gut and less effective barrier and all the scenario after that. So we have a friend inside our gut. This friend is the normal flora. These bacteria help us to keep the gut lining better. And also it helps us in digestion the food particles. It helps us in also absorbing the food. So I have patient, for example, she suffers from anemia long life. She has healthy lifestyle, her food intake of iron is good, and also she is taking supplements, good high quality supplements, but still her iron is not more than 10. Once she took good bacteria, suddenly her hemoglobin become 11. So it's not always about you have healthy food, healthy meal. It's also about absorption and your friend who is helping you in absorption. If it is weak, you cannot even absorb healthy food. I don't know this. So this is this explaining what are the tight junction between cell and cell. These tight junction that will be destructed in leaky guts. That will allow undigested food particle to come in and all the other scenario. So we explained that. And we explained that actually unfortunately, this information, I'm sure about it, any pharmaceutical drugs, contraception, antibiotic, Panadol, any of them, any pharmaceutical drugs can affect our intestinal lining and cause leaky gut and then less immunity. That's why in Corona now, anybody with any chronic medication, he will be at higher risk to develop Corona complication. It's not about, oh, I take a long time, I'm taking antihypertension or the medication, or I'm taking immune modulating or immune suppressant medication. No, any medication, especially when you are taking it for a long time, it will make your immunity low because it is changing our good bacteria. So try your best to go and find what's the reason behind your disease, treat the root causes, try your best to gradually change your remedies to natural and softer one, and slowly and gradually under the guidance of a doctor, be healthier and drug-free if you can. So, everything is fine so far?
Yes, Alhamdulillah.
Thank you. So, what are the medication that will help our gut to develop or regain its tight junction again? So, as you know, I think everybody knows now about green juices. Because when you juice the vegetables, you are increasing the absorption. You are making the nutrient more bioavailable. Okay? And then if you like tabbouleh, see, the parsley is good, but you mince it in like in tabbouleh, you are making the digestive enzyme more available to you. Regarding soups, the same. In the water of the soup, you will have more benefits of the vegetables or the bone broth you will cook. So soups always also have some materials or proteins like gelatin, that gelatin in bone broth that will help your gut regaining the lining of your gut. So everybody knows about vegetables, either raw or juice or steamed. And some vegetables are more in helping in digestion. For example, if you drink before meal, few minutes or half an hour before meal, celery juice. Celery juice will enhance and help your stomach to be ready for the meal. Sauerkraut the same. cabbage juice. All of this can help you in all of this can help you in getting prepared for the coming meal. So now the problem that sometimes you know what is healthy food, but the source of the food, the farming of the food, these practices, unfortunately, the healthy practices is not that available. Hopefully, one of your children will study organic farming, and we really need so many Muslims to go and study organic farming. We need this business to be more active in Muslim countries. Although there are so many difficulties in doing organic farming, but nothing impossible after awareness increasing. And not water farming. Aquaponic farming is just a lie. Okay, after establishing good food habits, there are some superfood or supplements can help you to do so. Find out something rich in zinc, quercetin. Quercetin is more in the onion. Okay, L-glutamine, curcumin. You can add it a lot. 1 teaspoon to 2 or 1 tablespoon is very good because curcumin is anti-inflammatory. And curcumin is super. It will clean your blood, and it's more effective than aspirin in preventing blood clots and heart attack with no side effect like aspirin. So we all hear about probiotic. Probiotic, what we mean is that you are taking a man-made bacteria in a capsule, or you find it in any fermented food. It's a probiotic. Prebiotic is the food of the good bacteria. So if you eat the food that good bacteria likes it, within 2 weeks you can develop a better population of normal flora or good bacteria inside your gut. It's very quick that you make them happy and replenish your good bacteria, and very quick you can make them sad and kill them. Like when you eat sugar or processed food, or you are stressed or not sleeping early, all of this can easily destruct your good bacteria. So it's not always about, I will take probiotic capsule. It's about also what you eat. You can make your own good bacteria to be replenished by itself. Oh. So how can I know I have leaky gut? Sorry, the slides is hidden. So I think most of us is suffering from these symptoms. It's like becoming the norm. 2 years ago, actually, there was a study, even it was paid by Sheikh Ahmed bin Rashid. Unfortunately, this study was not announced in our newspaper. It was announced in Gulf Europe something journal, not a very known journal. This study, they took blood from 3,000 people living inside UAE, local and non-local, but they are living inside UAE, so they are eating from the UAE supermarket and food, the same food chains. This study shows that 70% of that 3,000 people is, especially above age of 30, are suffering from the main food intolerances that are very common in the world. What what they have in their blood, the food intolerance test, the test that tests 200 allergy or antibody. They found antibodies to gluten and casein in 70% of them. Then the corn comes, soy come, because gluten, unfortunately, it is the food that destruct the gut barrier or junction. So what are the signs and symptoms that you will have? You will have sensitivities from good food, from normal food, like I said. You can have severe inflammation like Crohn's disease or celiac disease, or so you have your autoimmune reaction inside your gut also. Thyroid, as I said, mood changes, sometimes too much angry, sometimes too much happy, so mood swing. You can have eczema in the skin, and as I said about nutrient malabsorption. So some people will have, as I said, they take supplements, they take good food, but still they don't absorb it well. And brain fog also is one side of your leaky brain. Leaky gut is leaky brain. Leaky gut is leaky brain. Gases sometimes between constipation. It's actually irritable bowel syndrome is nothing but leaky gut. Also, one of the leaky gut signs and symptoms. Depression. People are taking antidepressants while they can just heal their gut, and they will have normal mood. Fatigueness, also your energy depending on your gut health. Headaches, migraine could be just a food intolerance. So there are so many tests, some available, some not available in UAE. So IgG testing is available. So this is we discussed. So people they are underestimating the danger of packed food. Even if the packed food, uh, they say, oh, healthy, gluten-free, organic. Don't believe any packed food. Packed food is a dead food. So there are nothing called FDA allow this, for example, this preservative. No, most or all food additive is just also triggering leaky gut. Sugars, emulsifiers, cellulose gum, organic acids, and meat glue, gluten. It's available in most of the packed food. Okay, so these are just coloring also. So the solution is focus on cooking from scratch. I know it's difficult with the children because children, they love this sound coming from the packed food of plastic, and they like the funny drawing on the packed food, but try to minimize it as much as possible. This is we discuss. Okay, so if we have leaky gut, the problem with the leaky gut that we will have chronic inflammation in our body, and any chronic inflammation, it will make you under stress for a long time, and that's not good for your adrenal and all the complication and allergies, autoimmune disease, cancer. So it's, as we said, it's all start from the gut. And some people, they just go and cut their stomach and make surgery. Subhanallah, every part of our intestine have a different and unique function. None of our no part in our gut is not needed or just extra or spare. So don't go for the gastric surgery to reduce for weight or whatever. So this is we explained. This is we explained. So this is we explained. So be careful. It's when you have leaky gut, it's not only that you will have only undigested food will come early to your blood. Unfortunately, the normal flora of the intestine will go to your blood. And sometimes also bad bacteria will go to your blood and it will cause you chronic infection. For example, sometimes chronic urinary tract infection is because of chronic leaky gut. So sometimes you focus, I will take natural remedies for urinary tract infection like cranberry, uvayorsi, marshmallow, blah, blah, blah. I will do my best, I will not take sugar. And still you have persistent, I will take homeopathy for more UTI. And still you have persistent infection in your urine. Simply, maybe it's because you are having leaky gut and your gut is keep on reinfecting your bladder. Because the bacteria inside your gut not supposed to be inside your أنا داخلة روب sorry داخلة روب. Okay, so subhanallah, our gut is like the root of the tree. It should be clean, take care of it, should be clean, should be nourished to protect ourselves from malnutrition or toxin. Okay, this is we explained. So most of our bacteria inside our gut and most of our immune system and lymphatic system inside our gut. And as I said, leaky gut means leaky brain. And many people knows that like autism, they get better when they stop food intolerances, eating food intolerances. So it means that many of our brain function depends or worsen or improve just when we take care of our gut health. Psoriasis, like skin disease, as we said, multiple sclerosis is the same as autoimmune disease. Heart disease, all because of inflammation coming from the gut. So when you have serious disease, like autoimmune disease or heart disease, it means that you've been for a decade suffering from leaky gut. Okay. So vitamin D, unfortunately, most of us cannot produce enough level of vitamin D. Your vitamin D should be from somewhere between 70 to 100. Don't believe the conventional doctor who said vitamin D 30 is enough. No, it should be between 70 to 100. Go to the sun, try to maximize your vitamin D level with the sun first. And if you still your vitamin D is less than 70, supplement with supplements with good supplements, because unfortunately the healthiest person, I saw a healthy farmer in Dubai and she's walking under the sun in UAE, barefoot in her farm, and she's not Muslim, not wearing hijab, and exposing her body, most of her body to the sun, and still she is having vitamin D deficiency. There are so many reasons that in our modern life the human being lost the ability to make its own vitamin D. So many supplements are important to heal the gut, like vitamin D, glutamine, fish oil, curcumin, cholesterol. Okay. So there are some choice sources like thedoctor.com, theglutensummit.com, and some people will say, oh, what we will eat if you are saying that. Just take it easy and educate yourself, and day by day you can learn how to avoid genetically modified food, whatever the price. So, any question? Hello?
Yes, Jazakallah khairan, Dr. Fatima, for this informative session. May Allah accept your efforts and time taken to spread the knowledge. Inshallah, now we'll have our Q&A session, inshallah. I hope
Yeah.
you can see the questions posted in the Q&A box.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. I want to ask regarding supplements, calcium, vitamin. If we take River, does it affect our good bacteria? We have deficiencies as you are listed that in order, so what you prescribe. Okay, so be careful from supplements because most of the Arabic countries, they don't have good brand supplements. Most of 99% of the supplements in the pharmacies in the Gulf countries is just a rubbish or it's just a lie. Okay, regarding vitamin D in UAE, I like go to Life Pharmacy and take Solgar oil, not liquid. They have oil dropper, and always when you really need vitamin, I told you how to know you need vitamin D or not. Always supplement D with vitamin K2, and that's also you will find it in Life Pharmacy. By the way, not everything in Life Pharmacy is good. Okay, and not everything in Solgar company is good. The more preservative you read in the ingredients or the other ingredients, it means the product is worse. So outdoor is a must, even if you supplement with vitamin D. Nothing like sun. Even if you think that I will go to the sun, but still I don't produce good vitamin D level, but still you need the sun for other reason. It make it a habit, even 15 minutes in the sun. Your face and hand is enough, by the way, but you have to go like a timing of vitamin D, the rays of the sun that will give you vitamin D. The timing is like the sun should be hot, but not burning. So should be hot means it's not like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. This sun early morning, it has a good benefit, but the the, the duha sun is activating, producing vitamin D more. But duha like 9, 10 a.m. But not don't go for very hot like 11, 12. It's very, very hot and burning, and it's perpendicular. So anytime the sun is hot but not perpendicular, your shadow is shorter than you. This timing is the best for me nowadays. It's like 9 a.m. Breakfast 15 minutes is enough, and or for example, half an hour before Adhan al-Asr, also, or exactly right after the al-Asr Adhan. Also, it's a hot sun. Your shadow is shorter than you, and it's not burning and not very cool. So the second question is by Layla. If we are on the road of treating leaky gut and we have stopped and all food shown energy in the food panel intolerance, can we start treatment with, or we must treat the SIBO before treating the gut lining? See, L-glutamine is not for everyone. This needs assessment. Some people will get worse with the glutamine. I am with making bone broth and see what's your response. And there is a website named drx.com. He has a questionnaire. With this questionnaire, you can know which leaky gut type you are. So Dr. X is dividing the leaky gut for 5 types, and with every type also 5 subtypes, and with each type he has a schedule and certain food to be used. I think you should always try to treat yourself with food only. These supplements, it's not for everybody, and should be under supervision of good naturopathic doctor. So thank you for shedding light. Does leaky gut have negative influence on uterine problem? Yes, of course, of course, of course. PCO, it can affect PCO. Can this issue be? Yes, PCO is reversible. I don't know what you mean by bulky uterus, but I have, for example, my friend, my mentor from United States. She was having, can you imagine? She was having endometriosis, okay, or adenomyosis, something I forgot, but it's like a very bad diagnosis for a woman to have this, and she will have infertility sometimes. But she reversed it just by healing her gut and stopping gluten. Okay, how to get vitamin D without going out or staying in an apartment. Okay, just make once a week a couple of hours in the sun. It can be beneficial for the whole week. Even if you are the whole weekdays you are in the apartment, but you have in the weekend one day outside, that will be also beneficial. Do you think it's better to take probiotic from food? Uh, so probiotic is not for everyone. Some people will get worse when they are taking probiotic, and uh, like the good brand probiotic like Clear Lab, they are good. Seeking Health, they are good. But come on, yani, how can you imagine that the efficacy of the probiotic will be good traveling from abroad till UAE? But we see miracles sometimes by taking probiotic supplements, actually. But Biocult probiotics available in UAE is also good. But some people, they just say we have no response, we are not improving with probiotic. But some people, it will be like Biocult, they have Biocult probiotic specialized for candidal infection, Biocult for urinary tract infections, so Biocult for general. So it's a good brand, but we see patients that they don't benefit from it. And some patients also, they can worsen with it. So we never know. We are very different as a human being. Of course, food is first, not supplements. Okay, Sabina, Laila, thank you so much. Sabina, as kids are at home for months, what's the best to do these days to keep their immune? Sorry, what is the question? To keep their immunity strong, vitamin D. Okay, so sun, outdoor, move. stop the Wi-Fi as much as you can. If you can put Ethernet instead of Wi-Fi. Ethernet, not, it's a wired internet. It's faster than Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is reducing our immunity. And the 5G is coming, it's worse and worse and worse and worse, 10 times worse. Can you imagine the speed of the Wi-Fi now is, the fourth generation is around 6 gigahertz, but they are planning to make the 5G from, they will jump gradually from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 till they reach 60 gigahertz. And some people say, they could reach till 150 gigahertz. So it is reducing our immunity. Some studies approve that it will reduce 50% of our macrophages ability to function. Our first line defense, our innate immunity will be reduced because of the 5G. And no matter how healthy food and supplements you will take, unfortunately, this unseen toxin, the Wi-Fi, it will affect your immunity. So there are some measures to reduce the effects of the 5G. And supplements like vitamin D with K2, children better with food. I give them cod liver oil. There is a brand name Carlson. It's available in Easter and Life Pharmacy. Cod liver oil because it's rich in vitamin A and D also. Give them lots of, actually the children, once they have healthy food, it's more than enough for them. Not every children will need the supplement, but this is a big service a big achievement. If you just stop inflammatory food for your children, this will enhance their immunity tremendously. And vitamin C, like you can put camu, CAMU. This is a good fruit. You can find it dried in Carrefour and many other iHerb. This camu is the best source of vitamin C on the planet. You can, okay, you can supplement them or put it in soup. So, are we done?
Yes, yes. We are actually lacking time for the next session. So we'll have to end the question and answer session for this talk, inshallah. Jazakallah khair and Dr. Fatema. Sisters, if there is any unanswered questions due to lack of time, please feel free to send an email to askholisticexpert@gmail.com and we will have them responded at the earliest, inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Over to you, Aisha. Welcome, inshallah.
Shall I leave?
Yes, sister. Yes, sister. Inshallah.
Yalla, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Over to you, Aisha.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fatima. I pray and hope we are able to benefit from all the knowledge you have shared with us today. Quickly moving on to our next speaker, Nisreen Nemer graduated as a registered nurse from Sharjah University and achieved her master's degree in public health from Hamdan Smart University. She is a lactation specialist, active volunteer at the Breastfeeding Friends Society in Sharjah at the Supreme Council of Family Affairs, a certified trainer and an Amani certified childbirth educator. She worked as a registered nurse for 10 years and a lactation consultant for 3 years at Dubai Hospital, DHA Government Hospital, as a baby-friendly BFHI leader, clinical resource nurse and lactation consultant for 3 years at Zulekha Private Hospital. She is currently a freelancer and volunteer at the Breastfeeding Friends, scientific translation and training committees. She has a wide experience in healthcare sectors, training and education, speaker at workshops and conferences, and planning workshops and conferences. Again, reminding any questions you may have relevant to the topic, please type in the Q&A tab on the corner. Handing over to you, Sister Nisreen.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, we can hear you, sister.
Thank you. Okay, let me start. This is okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thanks, Miss Aisha, Sister Aisha, and Sister Salma for the nice introduction. Alhamdulillah, I could manage to attend the 2 lectures. However, I was still driving back to home. Alhamdulillah, I could make it on time. Thank you for the interested topics and for the group and the initiatives that is done by the sisters. Really great, well done. My topic will be about the breastfeeding as the gold standard. And actually, this is a great topic to be added to the previous topic where Dr. Fatema was really talking about the leaky gut. So breastfeeding will have a very direct effect on preventing leaky guts for the newborns and even for futures. And also studies have shown that the babies who were exclusively breastfed were having the chances to heal their guts if they had any infections or inflammation, especially when they get diarrhea and vomiting or any gastrointestinal problems. So let's move on the breastfeeding, how to master it, and how to catch up on being able to breastfeed. So inshallah, we'll be talking about the recommendation in Quran general, and also why do we choose breastfeeding, benefits of breastfeeding, and the breastfeeding versus or opposite to the artificial milk. The key of, or the main key to start successfully breastfeeding, and what could be the alternative methods if we are able to have, sometimes difficulties, and sometimes what are the community support groups that we can have. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, as part of the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, there was a nice, ayah, where it is really used many times with all the lactation consultants and experts to make sure that the sisters know in the Muslim community that since this thing was really mentioned in Quran, so we believe that inshallah there is a good and a huge benefits with starting and continuing. So in Surah Al-Baqarah, they were mentioning the mothers shall give suck to their children for 2 whole years. That is for those parents who are desire to complete the term of suckling. Now, regardless of sometimes the culture factors, some people or culture really force the mothers to wean before 2 years, or sometimes even when the baby starts exactly 1 year. And some of them, they really hold the mother to stop breastfeeding when the baby's birthday is exactly 2 years. We need to understand there's like a way of gradual weaning in this, and it is the mother's willing and the baby's willing to gradually wean. We never force mother to do it or the baby, because that will affect the baby's psychological level sometimes. So this is not our direct topic, but just in case if the mothers are able to continue as much as she can beyond 1 year and to reach 2 years, inshallah, great. If she did even 2 years plus, there's no harm, inshallah, for most of the clinical and observations and also cultures. So again, the recommendations by the WHO and UNICEF, they found later when they observed and they did so many researches to understand the healthy lifestyle and the babies who had less chances of infection or mortality or death rate or even sickness, they found it where the mothers who had exactly breastfeeding and exclusively, or let's say they didn't introduce food earlier than 4 months or sometimes 6 months. So then they found out that it is really needed for the babies to have exclusively breastfeeding for 6 months to be able to have a strong immunity, and also to make sure this the normal bacteria which Dr. Fatema was talking about, and having a strong guts or intestine to have healthier lifestyle in future. Because as she just mentioned, if you have leaky guts, if you have an inflammation, it can really affect your chronic conditions. It could be the gastrointestinal conditions, the allergy conditions, and even sometimes for mothers who are not getting the chance to reduce weight. So if you really build your own normal bacteria, normal flora, the absorption will be better, and then your enzymes will be working much better, and then you might lose weight, and your cholesterol sometimes and even diabetes will be controlled for the healthy diet that you're doing. So again, they found that 6-month exclusive breastfeeding, that the baby should not take anything which is like water or herbal teas or any artificial milk without any medical reason for the artificial milk. So for the cultures who still force water for mothers, we advise them that your milk will have at least 80 to 90% of water, which is the making of the whole milk. So you don't really to give that. I always teach my mothers in my classes and lectures, your milk, because in Arabic it sounds the same, pronunciation. When I tell them, it is غذاء ودواء وماء, which means it's your food and your water hydrating factor and your medicine. So again, your milk is actually غذاء وماء ودواء, which is very fine, that the baby will get his all needs for the first 6 months, and you continue to give these needs, but you need to add complementary feeds, which is homemade. Again, if you do the foods at home, you are having a strong gut and normal flora, as Dr. Fatema said. If you introduce ready-made foods and Cerelac and ready-made cereals, that will really alternate the guts, because even if you protected 6 months the baby with breastfeeding, and then you started to ruin this back because if you had a ready-made food, then you have to wake and you have to improve that by eliminating these food and start to wait for 2 to 3 weeks to have normal flora and stronger gut. So again, when breastfeeding, again, the community, the baby, the society, and the family, everyone will be benefiting from the breastfeeding. As we said, it increases bonding, reduces prevention and infection, and the mother's healthy status will be fine. The good hormone will be produced. She will prevent, and the prognosis of getting better for any infection will be better, and the baby as well. Studies have shown that mothers who had really exclusive breastfeeding babies for 4 to 6 months, they had lower rates of cholesterol and diabetes in future. And even if it runs in the family, the mothers will be able to have a better lifestyle, and these factors will delay. Maybe rather than get it in 40s, she might get it in 60s and 70s of her age. So because of her lifestyle and breastfeeding, that will really make the chronic diseases such as diabetes, cholesterol, and hypertension to be late in her age. And again, for the benefits of the baby. Now, another factor we need to understand, that it goes back to the community and society. We are internationally celebrating the Breastfeeding Week every year in August. We had already finished last week. And also I Go Holistic was really having so many nice topics. You can also Google I Go Holistic. You can also Google my account at Lamsa Lamsa, where we had so many nice sessions. The International Global Breastfeeding Week was talking about saving the planet by improving the mother's breastfeeding journey. So because you are preventing pollution, preventing from throwing so much plastic and cans and all these things. Just 1 second, please. Okay, and again, this is a quick slide. The baby is going to get less chances of inflammation, or let's say infections and allergies, and he will be much better, stronger, and to fight infections in futures. So we said that also the benefits for the mother, she might have better prognosis for healthy lifestyle, and also less chances of chronic diseases and losing weight gradually. So the main 3 types of milk, which everyone really needs to understand, but again, you shouldn't really compare yourself with your milk supply and your color with others, because again, it's a range of colors and range of milk amounts. But we need to know that the colostrum, which is made very early stages after birth, which comes really soon after birth, and remains for 2 to 3 days. This is really rich in antibodies, which is really important for the mother to give to the baby, which is your natural vaccine. And again, the transition milk, which falls between 4 to 10 days. Some mothers will have it 7 or 10 days. So after that, you will be able to get the normal white milk, where everyone really considers like white or light creamy milk. Now, all the antibodies are really rich in all the factors, but are merely concentrated on the first week. So you need to make sure that you directly feed the baby or express the milk and give it to the baby by any alternative method. This is an important slide where the mothers read to understand that if you are able to have the early contact with the baby, if you have baby-friendly hospital chance to have your baby with, or the mother-friendly hospitals where they help you to have early breastfeeding and skin-to-skin and early initiation breastfeeding, they will teach you that your milk is absolutely fine on the first days, because colostrum, if we go back to the first slide, colostrum is very limited in between 5 to 10 or sometimes goes to 20 ml if in cases, not all the time. And it depends upon the mother prolactin level and healthy status as well. So what happens that the baby's stomach size is really only at the size of the cherry, small cherry, or the small marble, well, it is only 5 to 7 ml. If you get a teaspoon, if you get a teaspoon, you need to have 1 or 2 spoons for the baby to satisfy his hunger on the first 2 to 3 days. Another factor is very important is that by third day, where everyone is thinking that I don't have enough milk for 3 days. Well, your milk is absolutely there, but your milk will be increasing by third day, where you would have the size of the stomach of the baby matches your needs, which is such as the walnuts. And then after 1 week, you will have it like an apricot, such as an apricot, or again after 1 week or 2 weeks you might get it bigger size. And all these are range numbers, because these would be, it's like according to the baby's age and weight at birth, so it's never the same. So maybe my baby takes maybe 30 ml, another sister baby will take 20 ml, and this is fine for both of them. So you never compare yourself, you need to know the baby's age and weight. Another slide, which is very important, tells you about that you don't really need to get water. As we said, you have 80% or 90% of your milk contains water. The remaining factors are your fat, protein, lactose, and other things like vitamins and minerals. So this is a very clear slide that you really don't need to give water even in hot summer climate. Another interesting slide, you need to keep it in mind, is actually that mother's milk is made for babies and the artificial milk is made by cow. So the cow milk will have to give its own calf, or any animal will have to have his own milk for his animal. So you don't need to have it for the baby. And to get it really ready-made for the baby, it has to go so many processes and even some chemicals and also additives to make it safe for longer use. So it's not really safe and not really even clean at all this process. Now, what are the really needed things? I really need the natural breastfeeding and the natural milk. Well, in this natural breastfeeding and milk, I could see on the left side many living cells in 1 drop of my milk, and on the right side is no living cells in that drop, because this is artificial milk. I'm sorry, my little one is just playing around. I'm just being on and off. Okay, next one is another slide informs you that how much really the breast milk really gets value to the baby and the needs of the baby. If you just build like building blocks, you could see that how much you're getting benefits from the breast milk comparing to the artificial. Now this slide I will not explain. I will quit this slide because that was nicely explained by Dr. Dr. Fatema. But just to have an added information to this is just when you're able to have exclusive breastfeeding, you are the one to cover these, let's say, holes or spaces where it is being exposed to virus or bacteria. So when you have exclusive breastfeeding, your milk will be covering and giving you the healthy gut, which has been explained by Dr. Fatima. If you have interfered with anything, you need to wait for 2 to 3 weeks and sometimes 1 month to build the healthy gut and build your normal flora. And again, sometimes the mother and the baby could be really needed to have a bacteria, normal flora bacteria, probiotics, if they got antibiotics treatment before that. Now, the main important topic is just how to master your breastfeeding and what are the three successful breastfeeding keys. Many cases, I daily face these, and alhamdulillah, with the support of the experience and the knowledge that the mother gets from our help with like breastfeeding friends, childbirth educators, lactation consultants, we know that If they master these main three keys, she will manage to have her natural breastfeeding. And it's very important to build the mother's confidence, because if you have improving the mother's confidence, she will be able to understand what is going on, her knowledge will be improved, and also she will manage to master her breastfeeding. You need to start early, you need to do frequently feeding, and you need to have an optimal attachment, which is how you attach the baby to the breast. So starting early, you should do it soon after birth, and you have the chance to have skin-to-skin contact. If you are in a baby-friendly hospital, they will help you to do early skin-to-skin contact, and you will be able to do breastfeeding as soon. But if you're not in a baby-friendly hospital and you are able to do this in this hospital, respecting that the hospital protocols is followed strictly, yes, but you are able to train yourself to make a birth plan. If you are trained by the childbirth educator, she will give you the learning and teach you how to do a birth plan. You can discuss it with the doctor. So what other things could be acceptable in this hospital? If it's not a baby friendly and they find that this is not against their protocols, they will let you do it. But if it's against their protocols and maybe their system or their nursing or their staffing is not helping, you can't force that, but at least you do it as early possible. So if the baby was born and you were not able to do early skin to skin, as soon as the baby is with you, you do skin to skin and continue. But the best is to do it both after the birth itself. Even if you're cesarean section or spinal, or general anesthesia, you need to do it as early. For spinal, if the hospital allows, again, baby friendly will help you. With no baby friendly hospitals, you can't ask this because the system inside doesn't really help. So they will not know what to do with the baby and how to handle it. And most of the pediatric doctors will have to check the baby soon after birth. Well, in baby friendly hospitals, we delay these checkings as if everything is fine with the baby, baby's Apgar score is above 8. So that means that the baby is fine, cried, and he looks pink. So we don't need to do all this stuff. We will just put the baby to the skin to skin and allow to natural breastfeeding as soon as possible. But if you ask this in another hospital which is not baby friendly, unfortunately you can't force. The hospital setting doesn't facilitate this practice. So you have to do it as soon as you have the baby with you in room and continue skin to skin, and again initiating breastfeeding. You can also negotiate and do your birth plan, or you can also request personally with the nurses and doctors, please don't give any artificial milk to the babies unless medically indicated. If there's a medical reason, okay, you can go ahead with this, but I need to express my milk and give it as possible. And if there's no medical reason, I please ask you not to give my baby any artificial milk. I need to have it naturally with my own milk. Now, the main factor also here, the frequency feeding. The more you have a demand feeding and the more you expose yourself to the baby's needs and hunger cues, the more that you'll be able to give the chance for your hormone to practice and also to empty the breast, and also triggers more stimulation to do more breastfeeding and more milk. The third important factor is how to attach the baby to the breast. It's very important that the baby catches the breast effectively, because once the baby catches the breast effectively, he will be able to empty the breast. Once he empties the breast, he will be satisfied, not hunger. He will grow in weight, and also everything will be fine and mother will be quiet. But if the baby is not catching effectively, and you will see in the next slides, he will be always crying, the mother loses confidence, everyone will start telling her you don't have enough milk, or culture says your milk is not good, your milk is not thick, your milk doesn't have fats, baby doesn't really keep quiet. So you lose confidence and you really get stuck to the artificial milk. So again, start early, feed frequently, correct the attachment of the breast. This is what I just told. You have to have the early skin-to-skin contact. That will be done on baby-friendly and mother-friendly hospitals. You can't get this with a normal, unless there's internal protocol, which is like, let's say there's a midwife manager or let's say a doctor manager in this hospital. They are not yet baby-friendly, but they have evidence-based protocols and they updated the protocols. Then they are lucky to have this, even if they're not baby-friendly. So keep an eye on to search which is a hospital protocols good, or doctors, or even baby-friendly hospitals. Another thing which you need to understand that this is very good for you for the early contact and bonding to do breastfeeding. It calms the baby, keeps the baby warm, because your warm body will give the baby effective, good temperature to prevent being cold or hypothermic. Next, I already mentioned that after normal delivery or natural delivery or after C-section. And as we said, as soon as if you have your baby with you after a C-section, you need to have early skin to skin. You can ask the husband to do the skin to skin if the hospital allows the baby to be with the father, but some hospitals will allow the baby to be in special room until the mother is in her own room. So you can do the skin to skin or the father, which is very important, but for early breastfeeding, do it as much as you can when you get back to the baby. Now, frequently feedings or demand feedings, it's very important because you need to make sure that the more you frequently empty your breast, the more you trigger your brain to do more milk. The brain will work like this. If you, let's say you're selling too much of your product, then your factory and your manager and your company will produce more. The same thing, your brain will produce more if you sell your milk. You need to sell your milk to the baby. You need to empty it. And if there is any challenge, the baby is not feeding effectively, you had a flat nipple, inverted nipple, baby was born less in weight, baby was in ICU for temporary or observation, baby was premature, you need to empty your breast milk frequently within 2 to 3 hours every day after, even soon after birth. So you need to do it by hand for the first 2 days. After 2 days or by third day, when your milk supply started to be much more, you will be using the machine itself. So it's very important also to recognize the baby hunger cues, how much he frequently demands, how much he shows you that he is hungry. These are the early signs for the baby that he's ready to feed. Babies can sometimes do it within 90 minutes or 2 hours, and sometimes 3. But we are advising the mothers, if the baby sleeps 3 hours, you need to wake him up and not to do it as, a habit of making the baby quiet and sleep. So the more he demands, the more you get milk, and this is very good. But it's very important that he demands effectively with good latch on. This is the early hunger cues. If you wait for the baby to cry, this is the last sign, which is very bad sign. Baby will be so angry, he will not take the breastfeeding effectively. You need to calm the baby, and then you can give him the breast. So the early signs could be like stirring or moving the hand to the mouth, yawning, opening eyes, turning head aside, and sometimes putting again his finger and hands after he's awake or between the feeds. So this is a sign that the baby really needs to feed. You don't watch the clock, and let's say the baby was fed earlier and you were thinking that the baby should feed by 10, and he started showing the hunger cues by 9:30. You don't wait for 10. Baby's hungry by 9:30. So you just give the baby your breast. Don't watch the clock, but the only thing, watch the hunger cues. In case if he's really lazy, is not active, you need to wake him up by yourself every 2 hours, or sometimes 3 hours if he sleeps more than that. But sometimes for a healthy baby who feeds frequently normal, he should really be having his own, let's say, normal, frequency and cluster feeds. Again, maintaining your milk supply, more feeding, which means more stimulation, then more milk. Two mastering hormones are doing this, is your oxytocin and prolactin. Prolactin is the one who makes the milk. Oxytocin who is the one who pushes the milk out, or the salesman. I call my oxytocin as a salesman, because prolactin is the one who makes that and keeps it in the store, where oxytocin will really make them really pushed out or sells in the market. Now, if you have a salesman and you pay the salesman effectively, you give him a bonus, you give him, let's just say, vacation, you give him some, extra money or any bonuses, he will be so interested to sell much in the market. But if this oxytocin was not treated very well and was sick in between, or sometimes he's really not getting rest in between, he will not give you this sale of the product, and then you have your product stuck in your store. Then again, your brain, which is your manager, tells, please stop producing more milk or more product because your oxytocin is not working, or your prolactin sometimes is hindered because of some medications or stress, or sometimes even the medical conditions. So the brain will be the one to tell you stop and slow down because you're not doing very well. So to enhance this, you need to have good confidence in the mother's level, psychological support, bonding with the family and husband, and also rest and fluid and eating well. All these factors will make Mr. Oxytocin active to sell the milk in the market, which is your baby. And it's very important to make sure that your level of confidence will improve this. I had a case where a mother was really following it frequently. I caught her on Facebook, and she got back to work, and in between we had this counseling and checking on and counting. So once of the time she was asking me, and she's worried about her milk supply. When I did my counseling and digged more in the scenario, she was doing absolutely fine, and the baby was doing fine, and the needs which she supplies for the baby by expressing her milk was perfect. I was so lucky that she shared her story, advising other mothers, and giving a good thank you for me in the Facebook. But I was so excited the way she's explaining that after talking to Nisreen, my milk supply increased in 20 ml extra, which is really interesting because she was satisfied, she was relaxed, she was confident. And then I replied to her, "Thank you very much, because this is your oxytocin level is increased because your confidence level is increased. I was only a factor for this. So please keep your oxytocin level high, keep your confidence high." This is very interesting, and this is very also touchy, because the more you're confident, the more the mother will be producing more milk. I had another similar case, another lady who's Arabic. Again, she has a first baby. 2 days back, she was talking. She sent me a voice message exactly the same. She said, "I was relieved talking to you to know that I'm confident. And early morning, subhanAllah, I woke up, my milk is just increased. And alhamdulillah, I felt really my milk is leaking. Maybe because of stress, being a first mom, baby with the first mom, first baby with for the first time mom, sorry. And I was under stress. I didn't know if I'm doing well because the doctors were telling so many things. But talking to you, knowing that I'm doing so far, my milk was just increased in the next day. So alhamdulillah, this is a good thing, and this is a good factor, but you need to make sure it is your confidence. And Mr. Oxytocin, the funny man who needs to get more pleasant situation and also informations are, and sometimes even environment. So he works in positive environment. He doesn't work in, let's say, negative environment. And also the first doctor, forgot to mention her name, she was talking about mother who feels guilt, because the more you feel guilty, and she said the circle, the more you feel guilty, the more you will stuck in the circle. The more you are able to be confident, and you know how to set your limits and take your actions, this is the time your confidence will be stronger. The same thing with oxytocin. If you keep on thinking stress, your milk is not enough, you will be stuck in the loop of getting artificial milk, and then baby will be full with milk, refusing your breast, refusing your milk itself, and then you might think exactly that you are already having less milk. So this cycle will be built on wrong practice and wrong assumptions because of your confidence. So make sure that you have the right consultation with expert people, lactation specialists, consultants, peer counselors, childbirth educators. The last part, which is needed to finish, is your optimal position. And as we said, you start early, you do demand feeding, and this is the third key. If you do these three keys, you must master, inshallah. The remaining 15 to 20 minutes, let's say, difficulties or challenges, it could be because of the baby had something, challenges your breastfeeding, or you had something. So from the mother factor, it could be flat inverted nipple. However, flat nipple also successful for most of the cases. Inverted, we have few types. And sometimes maybe on the other side, the baby had difficulty delivery, or let's say difficulty birth, and his nerve were affected, the suckling nerves, or even he had a trauma at birth, he was having a vacuum or a forceps, or sometimes prolonged delivery. So everything was stressing the baby's brain and nerve system. So he will not really attach very effectively. Sometimes the baby will have tongue tie, or sometimes will have lip tie. So many other factors, which is really ranging the successful percentage in 15 to 20 percentage, sorry, which allows that the mother will really think that I have something not good with me. Well, it's not you, it's something just happened to be, let's say, created, and like this, that you were born that the baby was cleft lip, or sorry, and tongue tie, or even lip tie, or anything. So once again, you start early, demand feeding and attachment, you should be able to do the mastering as being the successful as much as you can. The right attachment to the baby, as we said, you shouldn't have any pain, because culturally, so many factors in any culture, they think the first few weeks you should have normal nipple pain. There's nothing that is normal nipple pain, but it sometimes could be discomfort for some cases, but you shouldn't have pain. If you have pain, either the baby's latching wrong, or the baby's having lip tie or tongue tie, or sometimes other scenarios. So be careful with that. Correct your position, and if it's corrected, no pain, you're fine. If it's corrected, you still have pain, you need to search for another reason. Baby is able to obtain a full milk needed. As we said, if he has a good attachment, he will empty the breast, he will be satisfied, your confidence will be increased, your milk supply will be demanded normally. Good milk production, as we said, because when you have the correct position, you're emptying the breast, you are maintaining your demand and milk supply. Oxytocin, prolactin will work together. These are different types of positions. Now, I know you need to have videos or clinical with that, but you can still Google them. You just post the breastfeeding positions, but make sure it should be from a perfect resources which are supported by breastfeeding, because unfortunately, artificial milk companies or sometimes food companies, they do marketing of these positions which incorrect positions. Sometimes be careful with that, and the latch should be clear. Anyhow, the normal cradle, which is the first picture to the left, and the right is the cross cradle, where you have the opposite hand catching your breast. If you just observe with me, the right hand is catching the baby on the right side. I'm talking to the right side. This is my mouse. Okay, this is the picture. So if we're talking about the right hand is catching the baby, and your left hand and left breast are on the same side. This is your cross cradle. While if you go back to the normal cradle, you are catching the baby with your left side, and you have the left breast, and your right hand is the one who's catching the breast. And that's why we call the second picture is a cross cradle from the other. Now, regardless of how much you can master it, and if the lactation is teaching you this, we clinically observe that new mothers really, if they were able to do cross cradle without any challenge, this is the best she can handle the baby, and the baby will be under control. And she might feel like she's satisfied. But some mothers, especially with mothers who look like, I call them like octopus mother, they can't control their hand. They're so, let's say, panic. They're not really confident, or like a small young mother, like she's 16, 18, 19, 20. She didn't maybe see a baby in her family yet or something like that. So she will always feel like she's not confident carrying the baby. The baby swims between two hands. So I always reassure the mothers and tell her, whatever position you are able to do, just do it. But the only thing, you need to make sure that the baby covers more of your brown tissue, which you will see on the next slide. The other two pictures, which is your sideline, there's no problem with that, but the baby should be facing the mother. And the left bottom one, which is your football or clutch hold, which is the baby should be on a pillow again. Although the other first two pictures, you should have the baby on a pillow, but the baby should be under your arm. This is good for C-sections or cesareans or large breasts, and even for new mothers who still have that octopus feeling, she can handle the baby. So if you put the baby on the pillow and you're just holding it on, supporting the baby with their arm, and the next hand, which is your hand, right hand, carrying your left breast, that will be sometimes a good control. You just Google this. And the last introduced few years back, the late back breastfeeding, especially for the mothers who had episiotomy or again cesarean in the first stages. Sometimes baby who refuse breast or reluctant to do direct breastfeeding, we do offer sometimes late back and other scenarios as well. It depends upon the scenario. But if you fail to do the normal 3 positions before, you can start doing that late back, because naturally the baby will be latching from the bottom to the upper part of your breast, so he might catch the exact amount of the brown tissue. Next is very important. As we said, the baby's position should be very important, that the baby faces you, not on his back. The baby should really face your stomach. The baby should have to open his mouth widely to make sure that you can at least see the tongue really at the lower gum, or at least the wide opening of the baby's mouth, as much as he can open, should really match as much as he have on the brown tissue on your breast. And again, you need to bring the baby forward as much as you can, fast, gentle and fast, to catch the amount that you're able to put on the baby's mouth. So baby is very important to be close facing you and opening his mouth to have the attachment. These are 2 pictures explaining which is A and C. If we see the differences between A and C, A, the baby covers more of the brown tissue. C, the baby covers only the nipple. So you can imagine C will have nipple pain. Baby's not getting enough milk because he's not catching anything. He's only getting the nipple. On the B side, what goes inside your anatomy or your breast from inside, as scientists or doctors or nurses, how do they understand this? You as a mother, you will understand the pictures as A and C. But we are scientists, we observe B and D. What happens in B? You are able to get more of the white ducts, which carries the milk and stores the milk more, because because of the old brown tissue you are able to match with your baby's mouth. Now you can get more of the brown tissue sometimes, because your mother's brown tissue sometimes is bigger than the baby's mouth, but at least you should cover the matching amount that the baby is having, bigger gap of his mouth covering the matching amount of his area. Now if you go to D, as scientists, what is going on here? Baby's catching the nipple, here he's catching the nipple. So the white ducts where they have stored milk, baby's not able to catch them because he's only biting the nipple. So you can imagine how much he's getting pain to mother. At the same time, he's not getting enough milk. And that's why you don't have enough milk, you're losing confidence, you're giving artificial milk, yeah, and your milk production will be less. Why? Because your stored milk didn't come out. Your manager brain will tell you stop production. If you didn't produce good milk supply and you didn't empty your breast for another 3 days to 1 week, your milk supply will drop to 50%. Imagine, this is not a small number. So that's why early skin to skin breastfeeding, empty your breast even if the baby doesn't latch effectively. That will stimulate and protect you, prevent you from low milk supply. So the more you empty the breast with the baby or without the baby, the more you maintain the milk supply. So be careful with that. These are the good signs. Opposite to them, good signs. Very easy. If you read the right side, you just have to have the opposite on the left side. So you shouldn't have pain, no breast pain, no nipple pain. Baby gains weight after 5 to 1 week. Baby looks comfortable after the feed or he sleeps. Baby should have at least 8 feeds in 24 hours, sometimes even 10 feeds. And he should have wet diapers, 6 and 3 stools. And this is also ranges sometimes. The last and at least, subhanAllah, now it's Al-Maghrib Adhan in our UAE time. You are teaching and giving love and bonding and confidence to the baby. You are storing your money and it is safely, not costing you anything. And you're saving your money. And again, as we said, internationally for this breastfeeding week, you are saving the planet. Thank you very much. And this is my end, inshallah, on time, alhamdulillah. However, we started a little late. I'll just give you the mic, Aisha, but we'll wait for Adhan shway. I'll stop sharing. Assalamu alaikum, Aisha. Are we done?
Yes, if you have any questions, you can address them. Just one question we had.
Thank you for the sisters who joined us, alhamdulillah. And the previous 2 topics were good factors for this topic, actually. You shouldn't feel guilty and you shouldn't have a leaky gut if you do breastfeeding, inshallah.
We have a question, sister.
Yeah. Can you please help me with that? Because I cannot see all the questions.
Yeah, sure. What can you do if your flow is too fast for the baby? She starts crying when it gets too fast, and she doesn't want to drink from the breast.
Thank you for this question. Well, mainly we need to understand, as we said, that the baby should latch effectively, and we know that if she was able to diagnose herself right and the lactation or a doctor diagnosed her effectively right, like she has a forceful let down where your milk is shooting very fast and the baby is able to swallow, means that your milk is leaking too much fast and the baby is not really managing to swallow. Or the opposite, you have so much milk, which is your oversupply. So we need to make sure which one is the diagnosis effectively, and in both ways, we need to make sure either you have special position like the laid down position, and also sometimes you might be on some medications where the doctor, lactation consultant doctor, will help you to prescribe. She might be prescribed some medication to slow down by releasing, let's say, the tension around the blood supply and makes the blood supply relax, so your control of milk ejection will be less. But again, we need to make sure, is it oversupply or forceful supply? this is really important to decide with the lactation consultant and lactation doctor to follow that.
Okay. We have another question. I have heard about complications such as hard and painful breast and also dry nipple. What can we do to avoid it? Also, could you suggest a good moisturizer for dry nipple?
Thank you. For this is a frequently questions in every culture. I get this. We just mentioned that the exact position latch on will prevent your sore nipple and painful nipple. So if you train yourself and been treated effectively, trained effectively, and you got the right information, seen by a lactation expert, that she will tell you your breast is normal, everything is normal, you should have a good latch. So you are preventing your sore nipple and dryness and problem on the nipple by good latch. Now, on the other hand, so many mothers will start doing some like nipple creaming and areola creaming to prepare the nipple because she's thinking she will prevent sore nipple and crack. As I just addressed, your position latch on is the main factor. And even though if you spend so much money on creams or even natural oils and your position is wrong, then you wasted your time and money. So you need to have good position latch on. And another thing, subhanAllah, you will have some special glands on your areola will have some special oil. This is the one which gives a smell for the baby to be attached to you and also will give the smell of the colostrum. So you need to make sure that you have natural oil in your breast. So try to avoid too much soap and water on there. Just let the water runs in your shower and not to have so much, let's say, dry clothes on, like rubbing on the breast. And that's normal. If case you had a very dry skin, you need to get to the doctor, gynae doctor and dermatology doctor. They will prescribe for you some medications to soothe it until pregnancy is, alhamdulillah, safe birth, and then you will get back to natural breastfeeding, because sometimes these medications for dryness might have some, effect on the baby. So be careful. So naturally, you don't have to do this, okay, unless you have severe dryness. And even though if you have mild dryness, you can do natural, oils just to make sure. But to prevent sore nipple and cracked nipple, you need to know the correct latch on and position, and in case if the baby is having tongue tie. So I think this is just repeating in short my lecture.
Yes, Jazakallah khairan, Sister Nisreen. This ends our Q&A session, inshallah.
Thank you.
Your session was indeed very informative for us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for your efforts taken to spread this knowledge among our community, inshallah. So we will end the session, and inshallah, over to you, Aisha.
Thank you, Barakallahu Fikum. Thank you, my dear. You're doing a great job. Barakallahu Fikum.
May Allah accept it.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sister Nisreen. Thank you so much for taking the time out. All of you, for all the speakers. It's been a very beautiful journey with the Ahlan Motherhood webinar series, and it's a very beautiful way to end the Ahlan Motherhood series 2020. And as we approach the end of today's session, I'd like to thank each one of you who joined while we wait for our winner. While we wait for our winner to be announced, I'd request you to all kindly fill the evaluation form posted in the chat box. It will also be sent to your email to make sure we have a feedback from all of you. So we'll start with the winner. Okay, we have Dr. Ashwida Ramlan as our winner today. Congratulations, Dr. Ashwida. In a way, all you are winners just for being so special and amazing women. And this prize, which goes to Dr. Ashwida, we will shortly message you the details of your prize. Please type your full name and contact number in the chat box. May peace be upon you all. We like to end the session with the introducing and closing with the information on IGO Holistic platform as a platform for coaching for women. We have different programs and customized programs for women health, healing, mental health, and even for uh, family problems or relationship, any kind of lifestyle coaching that you want to detoxify your mind, body, and soul. We look forward to having you through more of our webinars, and we are very delighted that all of you had attended with us and all of you cooperated with us for with our challenges as well for this webinar, inshallah. We will also present the recording in the emails and mail it to you, inshallah. So I would just like to end the session with a dua. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.